Hi again, everybody. Welcome back to Enjoy English. I'm Bruce.
I'm Anthony.
Today we're going to do some traveling to Italy.
Yay!
A country that when people decide to finally visit Europe, it is the first, second, or third choice of most people. There's just so much to do there. It has a long history. It has many accomplishments in art and architecture, in what they can build with stone. And so it attracts millions of people every year. We are going to one place in particular. We're going to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa, from mistake to miracle.
没错，我们今天行遍天下的单元呢，要带大家去什么地方玩呢？我们就是要带大家去意大利。老师刚刚提到有一个字非常非常重要，也是我们今天的主轴哦，就是 architecture。architecture 就是建筑风格的意思。好，在这边的话呢，我们来先看一下我们的主标题哦 ，The Leaning Tower of Pisa。好，就是比萨斜塔 ，From mistake to miracle。这边你会看到 from mistake to miracle 都是 m， 它有用到一个押头韵 alliteration 这样子的一个写作技巧。那我们的中文标题写说抢救歪楼大作战，斜出特色的比萨斜塔。好，在这里的话，它就是提到说斜出特色 from mistake to miracle， 从本身的刚开始的一个错误，到现在呢是一个奇迹 ，miracle 这个字就是奇迹的意思。
So we will learn how the famous tower is still standing against all odds. The Leaning Tower. It's a tower, and it's still standing against all odds. If you look at it, you think, I'm not going near there because it might fall on me. It's leaning.
Yeah, 没错，在这里的话呢，看起来像危楼，对不对哈 ？Standing against all odds 就指在逆境当中，或是在很不利的条件的情况之下。好 ，Against all odds 也是一首老歌 ，Phil Collins 的老歌吧？哈，有机会可以去听一下下。那这边提到说，这个副标题提到说，好，一窥这个知名斜塔如何在逆境当中屹立不摇 ，Standing against all odds 就是那种屹立不摇的那种感觉哦。
Okay, let's take a very short break and then we'll begin our reading.
The Leaning Tower of Pisa, From Mistake to Miracle. For tourists visiting Italy, a great number of wonders are waiting to be discovered. In addition to Venice's Grand Canal and the Colosseum in Rome, the Tower of Pisa is a must-see sight. Though the tower is admired for its beautiful architecture, it is more widely known for its unique tilt. The Tower of Pisa sits in the city of Pisa's Piazza del Duomo, a square of great religious importance. The 8-story tower, which was designed as a bell tower for the cathedral in the square, began construction in 1173. Unfortunately, the tower's foundation, which was laid on soil that was too soft, was only 3 meters deep. This shallow foundation and soft ground could not support the weight of the tower's heavy stones. Within 5 years, the tower began to lean as the construction progressed to the 3rd floor. Around this time, construction was stopped due to wars. About 100 years later, the work started again, and more floors were added to the tower. The upper floors were built with one side shorter than the other in an attempt to stop the leaning. However, the additional weight of the floors made it worse. After another long pause in construction, the top of the tower was finally finished in 1372.
For tourists visiting Italy, a great number of wonders are waiting to be discovered. Italy is one of the most visited countries in the world, even though it's not really big in area and so in population. As I said, it has a remarkable history to it. And for many people, these are wonders. And you may have seen pictures of some of these wonders in Italy, and you didn't know they were from Italy. But as you learn more about world culture, history, and architecture, you'll think, 不简单啊。
不简单啦，了不起啊！在这里的话，你可以想象到，在意大利，你不要忘记那个文艺复兴 （The Renaissance） 是这个发源地就在佛罗伦斯嘛，就是事实上它是一个人文荟萃的地方。所以在这边的第一句话呢，他就告诉你说 ，For tourists visiting Italy， 就是在去这些意大利旅游这些观光客这些人的心目当中呢。A great number of wonders， 各式各样不计其数的这种奇景美景，你可以用 wonder 这个字来表达，这是一个名词。你常会听到 wonderful， 对不对？所以在这里的话，你就知道说，变形容词的 wonderful 是棒极了、美极了。那这个 for 的话是形容词的字根嘛？那去掉之后 wonder 当然绝对是奇景美景的感觉。所以 a great number of wonders are waiting to be discovered， 等待着大家去发现。
In addition to Venice's Grand Canal and the Colosseum in Rome, the Tower of Pisa is a must-see sight. Venice is one of the greatest cities in Italy. It is a port city. It's on the ocean. Part of it is in the ocean. And so the Grand Canal is a man-made river. Also in Rome, you've seen pictures of this, and you may not have known what you were looking at, but it is a very large stadium that is no longer used as much as it used to be, but it was built some 2,000 years ago and is still standing, if not 100%. That's called the Colosseum. That's in Rome, which is the largest city and the capital of Italy. Well, the Tower of Pisa is I think Pisa is just a town. It's not a very big place, but it has this tower, but the tower is like this and attracts people's attention.
没错，所以这里的话就告诉你说，在这个意大利到底有哪一些大家为人津津乐道的重要景点哦 ？In addition to Venice Grand Canal，Grand Canal 就是指这个大运河。老师刚刚用的是 man-made rivers， 就是指大运河的意思。你可以到威尼斯水都呢去看一下他们的大运河，然后或者是怎么样 ？And the Colosseum in Rome， 在罗马你有机会看到这个非常重要的罗马竞技场。如果你有看过一些重要的电影 about gladiators， 那种角斗士的，你一定会看到这个 Colosseum，right？ 这个地方的话很重要。The Tower of Pisa， 就是我们今天讲的比萨斜塔呢。is a must-see sight。然后除了刚刚提到的意大利的这个大运河啦、罗马竞技场啦，你也不得不去看一下。我们今天讲的主题就是比萨斜塔 ，a must-see sight。这个 must-see 中间有一个小小的 hyphen 连字号，来把它变成形容词一样的感觉，来修饰后面这个 sight。
Though the tower is admired for its beautiful architecture, it is more widely known for its unique tilt. Well, a tower is just several stories of building materials for all kinds of reasons. Some of them will support something at the top. The Space Needle is in Seattle, for example. That's a kind of tower. But this tower is admired or appreciated for its beautiful architecture. It's stone, and stone can be carved into many beautiful scenes or objects, and that's one reason we appreciate especially older towers. However, the Tower of Pisa is more widely known, it's more famous for its unique, one of a kind, it's the only one that tilts.
就是倾斜的意思哦。所以在这里的话，你要特别注意一下，这句话还蛮好玩的。Though the tower is admired， admire 就是被大家所喜欢、备受赞誉的意思。 for its beautiful architecture。我们刚刚不是开场的时候有提到说 architecture 是建筑风格吗？除了它这个大家最为人津津乐道的这种建筑风格之外，大家很喜欢它的原因，除了建筑风格之外 ，it is more widely known for。所以在这里面提到 known 这个字的时候 ，known 的后面 be known 可能接的是 as。我记得在昨天的这个课漏字里面，我们介绍到了 be known as 被称之为这样的用法。但是另外 be known 后面可以接的另外一个介系词就是 for 后面接的会是一个特色，也就是它整个东西的一部分，不是全部，就是一部分它的特色。在这里的话是 it's more widely known for its unique tilt， 意思是它独一无二这种倾斜的风格是大家更记得比萨斜塔的原因。
Okay, we'll take a short break and then come back and continue to talk about this unique, one-of-a-kind tower. Our next paragraph, the Tower of Pisa sits in the city of Pisa's Piazza del Duomo, a square of great religious importance. Well, you could say that's true in every Italian city. First, it was the Roman Empire, and they had their religion, and later with Christianity, Italy became one of the centers of Christianity. For example, if you are Catholic, you know that Rome is where the center of the Catholic religion is, the Vatican. In fact, there's a Vatican City, which is supposed to be independent. Anyway, the art and architecture of Italy often has a great deal to do with its religious traditions.
没错，所以老师刚刚简单的提到这个意大利呢，你可能听到罗马，你会想到这个 Catholic Church， 就是那个天主教。那如果说提到这个罗马，就是天主教教廷啦，还有它都在那边。甚至老师刚刚提到 the Vatican 就是梵蒂冈，它是一个罗马里面底下应该是一个独立的，算是一个国家吧，算是一个国家这样的感觉。所以说今天你提到罗马，提到宗教，这些东西都是密不可分的。我们来看一下这一段的第一句话就告诉你了 ：The Tower of Pisa sits in the city of Pisa's Piazza del Duomo。它这个地方它是指的是主教座堂广场。A square of great religious importance， 它是一个广场，而且怎么样，具有非常重要的宗教意义。A square 广场 of great religious 这个宗教的形容词配上 importance 重要性。
The 8-story tower, which was designed as a bell tower for the cathedral in the square, began construction in 1173. Okay, so 8 stories tall. Here in Taipei, you can't even see a building 8 stories tall because all the other buildings are taller. But in that day and age, 900 years ago, 8 stories was pretty tall. And it was designed as a bell tower. That means at the top of the tower, there was a bell to let people know about religious events or the time of day and things like that. And it was located in the square where the cathedral was. A cathedral is a very large and important church. And it's often the main building. If you have a town square or city square, that's the center of the city. And it shows that religion is central to the city's culture.
没错，所以我们要先知道一下 cathedral 这个字非常重要，就是通常提到 church 都是一般的教堂 ，but when you say cathedral， 然后是哇，好大好大的大教堂那种感觉哦。很多地方，比方说像那个2024年的奥运，那大家都会想到说啊，圣母院重建，圣母院的话就是一个非常非常大的 cathedral。提到 cathedral， 十之八九都会想到 Catholic Church， 都是跟那个天主教比较有关的。所以他这边提到说了 the 8-story tower， 老师刚刚开玩笑讲说，你现在在台湾你看不到8层楼的，因为每一个都比它高。可是想想看，在当初900年前，其实8层楼算是相当高的一个建筑物了。Which was designed as a bell tower， 它当初的话设计成这个是钟楼。 然后 for the cathedral and the square， 好，就是在这个广场里面的这些重要的这种大教堂，它中间这个地方当了一个钟楼，好，感觉像是一个中心的感觉。好，它这个 8-story tower 怎么样呢？Began construction in 1173， 好，就在1173年的时候开始动工了。
Was that 元朝？
好像1173好像没有到元朝，元朝的话可能在更后面一点点。它这个时候还是宋朝。
Okay, that's a long 900 years ago. All right. Unfortunately, it's too bad that, unfortunately, the tower's foundation, which was laid on soil that was too soft, was only 3 meters deep. So we immediately come to explaining the problem, why they didn't build it to tilt it. That's very dangerous. So why does it tilt? This sentence explains it. The tower was built on soil or on land that was so soft that the weight of this 8-story stone building somehow it started to lean in one direction and then kept leaning in that direction. So we have the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
所以在这里他告诉你说了，好 ，unfortunately， 一告诉你就是不好的消息。不幸的是怎样呢 ？The tower's foundation， 这个塔的地基啊，所以最下头这个地方呢 ，which was laid on soil。soil 这个字好重要，这是讲到土壤，它这个土质怎么样呢 ？That was too soft， 它的土质非常非常的松软。然后他后面告诉你说 was only 3 meters deep。想象一下，8层楼的塔。然后呢，你的地基只有3公尺，而且这个就在土质很松软的地方。你想象一下，你在床上，你在你的自家的床上堆积木，那个床呢软软的，你随便动一下，积木就倒了，那样的感觉。所以你可以理解到这个地方 soil 这个字指的是土壤，土壤又松软，然后地基又不深，所以这个塔会倾斜，刚好而已。
This shallow foundation. Shallow is the opposite of deep. And 3 meters might sound like a lot to you, but not when there's 8 stories above it. Could not support the weight. The soil is too soft, as he just said. And these towers are made of stone. They're heavy. And this will be a lot of pressure on soft soil. Sooner or later, it will probably tilt in one direction and then keep tilting.
没错，所以这边就告诉你了 ，this shallow foundation， 这个 shallow 呢，就是指非常非常浅层的，它的这个地基这么的浅 ，and soft ground， 好，就指土质啊很松软嘛 ，could not support the weight of the tower's heavy stones。这个我们今天建立一个塔的话，它本身的石头本身是很有重量的。地基不够深，土质又松软的话，老师刚刚讲到说 sooner or later， 很快的一个时间的问题而已，它就会往一方倾斜。一旦倾斜了之后，慢慢的它就会倾斜越来越多。
Within 5 years, the tower began to lean. I used the verb tilt just now. That's to lean. As the construction progressed to the 3rd floor.
天哪！所以在这里的话呢，他告诉你为什么啦。Within 5 years， 好，所以在5年之内呢 ，the tower began to lean。你也可以用 tilt 这个字 ，lean 的话就是靠着，就是往某一边倒。那在这里的话 ，lean 你常常会看到在捷运上面，他说 Please do not lean on the doors， 千万不要靠在门上，因为门一开的时候，你人就倒出去了嘛。在这边它 lean 的话就是往某个方向倒。As the construction progressed to the 3rd floor。它到第3层往第3层盖的时候，发现到不对了，好，这个5年之内呢，它就往某一个方向倒了。所以在这里的话，要特别注意的事情是 progress 这个动词，这个动词的意思就是 progress 就是进展到。好，这个字的话，如果你把 ed 遮掉，你有机会听到这个字被念成 progress。当 progress 的时候，它的名词意思指的是进步。但是我们这边的话是动词，指什么东西的推展或进展，我们会念 progress， 重音在 gress 这个地方，要特别帮我标注起来，这样以后你看到当动词的时候，你就会念了。
Okay, that was a long paragraph, so let's take a break. Okay, continuing to our final paragraph for today. Around this time, construction was stopped due to wars. Around this time would be in the 1100s. This goes very far back in history. Well, they stopped not because of the leaning, but because of the many wars that were happening in Europe at that time.
所以在这里呢，好，他发现到，哎呦，这个有点盖不下去了，对不对？可是刚好在这段时间里 ，around this time， 在这段期间里头呢 ，construction was stopped due to wars。好，在这个地方刚好碰到了战争，然后刚好在这个建筑的过程当中必须要停工。
Okay, continuing, about 100 years later, the work started again, and more floors were added to the tower. So they built the first 3 or 4 stories, they stopped for a century, and then they continued to build it.
没错，所以在这边的话，差不多呢，过了100年左右啊，我们来休息一下啊，我们休息一下，一休息就1世纪了1世纪之后呢 ，the work started again。好，你可以用这个 the work started again or resume。好，这些字的话都是很好用的。resume 这个字的拼法是 resume， 指的是重新再开始的意思。And more floors were added to the tower。好，这边要告诉你说，哦，一旦又开始动工了之后呢，好，有更多的楼层在慢慢往上盖。
The upper floors, the higher floors, were built with one side shorter than the other. Why would you do that? In an attempt to. They tried to stop the leaning by having less stone on one side, it will be lighter. And if it keeps the same weight, then it will keep leaning. If the weight is less, maybe it will stop.
没错，如果有玩过叠叠乐 Jenga 的话，你就知道说，哦，这边已经往这边倒了，你就这边的话要有一个力量平衡过来。所以在这边他就看到他说 the upper floors， 好，更高的这些楼层呢 were built with one side shorter than the other。好，一端呢比另外一端要短一点点，可能这个石头用的话比较少一点点。In an attempt to， 其实就是 in order to， 为了要做什么事情 ，attempt。就是指 try 的意思，你试图要怎么做？好，试着要怎么样 stop the leaning， 你要去创造出一个平衡的力量，让它不要倾斜的这么快。
However, the additional weight of the floors, the higher the building, the more it weighs, the heavier it is, made it worse. The heavier, the more tilt.
没错，所以他告诉你说 ，however， 不过呢。The additional weight of the floors 更增加了这些楼层的这个重量啊 ，made it worse， 让状况变得更糟，因为你向下的力量又变更重了嘛。所以说，今天如果地基本身就是个问题的话，你上面再怎么平衡，总有一天它会垮。
After another long pause in construction, the top of the tower was finally finished in 1372. Pause means a period of time when you wait. You're not active in construction. So they stopped building for a while. In fact, it looks like they stopped for another century because if they started in
1173.
Oh, so 199 years it took to build an 8-story building.
没错。所以在这里的话，就告诉你说 ，after another long pause in construction。它又停工了好一段时间之后呢 ，the top of the tower， 好，最上层的这一层呢 ，was finally finished， 好，最后结束的时间是在1372年。我们从1173年好开始动工，然后中间经过战争啦，经过停工啦，经过稍微再调整一下，弄，199年过去了，终于盖完啦！好，1372年完工喽。
Well, I'm sure you want to hear more about the Tower of Pisa, and you will tomorrow when we continue and finish with part 2. Until then, bye-bye.